Hey guys, welcome to my channel. This is Afia and today I am talking all about how I started working in the UK as an international medical graduate. As you guys know, I graduated from Bulgaria last year in May 2022, and I have been working in the UK since June 2022 and this is March. So I have been working for about 9 months. I am so sorry that it's taken so long for me to bring this video to you guys, but we are finally here, so let's get the video out. So I've had a lot of questions of you guys asking me basically how did I get here, how was my journey to this point from graduating in Bulgaria and coming here. So this is what I want to do and I want to talk about it. So I've written it all down in my notes, so I've got it on my phone just so I don't forget. The first thing you need obviously is your medical degree. I finished my degree in March last year, and then when I finished my last exam I was able to get like a completion letter from Bulgaria. This is the letter that says, you know, you finished with your exams, you've completed everything, you're just waiting for your graduation, but you can start applying to be part of the GMC in the UK. GMC is basically the General Medical Council, and you need to be accepted into the GMC before you start working. So you can't work until you've got a GMC number, until you're part of the GMC, all of that. So you get your completion letter, you need to get your certificate of standing from the police. There's a whole list on the Facebook group. I presume that's where I got my list from. So you just need to have all that information, and then when you get all of that you can start applying to EHIC. So EHIC is basically an American company that authenticates your documents. So before you get into the GMC, you need your document to be authenticated for them to know that, okay, this person is not lying, this is not a fake degree, this is not a fake certificate, this is a real thing. So you have to pay money. I think for the EHIC, for you to register, I think it was about $150, and then for every document you uploaded it was about $100. So I registered, uploaded my documents, and during this process it takes about 2 to 3 weeks, I think. They call you as well so that you can show them your passport. You actually upload your passport as well, your identification. They can, you know, just check that you're the right person, you're not someone that's, you know, pretending to be someone else. So after they're satisfied with that, they then send your documents to the GMC, and then the GMC will now be like, okay, cool, we've got your information from EHIC. Then you have to pay to the GMC. So the GMC yearly money is £150. So I paid £150 to register with the GMC. So I started my application to get my GMC number and everything after my exam. So I think it took about 4 to 6 weeks to get everything sorted. So towards the end of April, I got an email from GMC that said, you know, hello, you are on the GMC register now, this is your GMC number, you can start working, basically. So when I had gotten my, you know, I was like, oh, finally I can start applying, because prior to this I had started looking on NHS jobs, track jobs, and just looking for jobs, and what I was realizing was that there wasn't many jobs. If you guys were aware, last year the foundation program for doctors and everything was really full, and I think they were saying about 800 doctors in the UK did not have an F1 place. It was really saturated. So when I came back between April, I was looking for jobs. I was literally finding nothing. There were times I'll find an appropriate job that was maybe an F1 job on the NHS website or on the tracks website, and I'll be so excited, like, okay, let me apply for this job. And then when I was doing the application form, which is quite long, by the time I'd finished it, less than an hour later it would disappear. And one thing I realized, what the UK does sometimes, what the NHS does sometimes, is someone internally will have a job, or they will give you a job and they will have to put it on the job site just so you can apply for it. this has happened to people that I know. So maybe you're in F1 and you're looking for the next role, and they say, okay, a role has opened up in general medicine F1 for 6 months, 3 months, whatever the case might be. For you to apply, we're giving you the job, but you still need to apply for the job internally. They will then go on the NHS website or the track job website and open a listing for that job, but that job is already for someone. They've already kept it for the person. So once the person applies for the job and sends the application, they take that job off right away from the website. So there were times this was happening to me where I was like, oh my gosh, it's a job, I can apply, and then when I go to apply, the job has disappeared, the vacancy is closed. I'm like, what's going on? This happened to me once. I really wanted that job. So it was a job in, I think it was Peterborough. The stop when you're going from Leeds to London, the stop before London, King's Cross. I was like, okay, cool, this is not in London, but it's near London. It'll be a great place for me to live, you know, see my girls, I'll have a great time. And it was obs and gynae. You guys know I love me some obs and gynae. So I was like, yes. So I had this application and I was trying to apply for it, but they didn't even have a person, they didn't have a job description, they didn't have a personal specification. They normally have that, so they'll have a job description and a specification as well of what they want from you. None of that was available, and I was like, this is so strange. How am I to apply for a job without knowing what the job description is so I can tailor my questions to it, if that makes sense? Because on track jobs, you have to answer, you have to put your own statement, you have to basically say why they should give you the job. Even though you're a doctor, you've got your degree, all of that, you still need to, you know, go into all of that. And I called the hospital, I tried to get in contact with the person that had done it. There was no email also. Normally they'll have the person that's the hiring manager, and they'll have an email for them, and they'll have a number for them if you wanted to contact them. Nothing was there. And I was really trying to get in contact with them because I really wanted that job. And I tried to call them. I think when I kept on calling, they didn't even know who to connect me to because there was literally no name. And then I just had to give up. And I just really, when I found out that this is what they normally do, I was like, this is probably someone's job. Someone has been promised this job, someone has been given this job, and they've just put it on there because the person's gonna get the job, and that's why they've not bothered to even fill in the information. They've not bothered because someone's already got the job. So this is what I was going through when I was applying. So I was applying from end of April till about June. So I'll tell you the different areas different ways I tried to apply, or different areas I applied. I went through NHS jobs and applied through there if I saw anything that I could do. When I say that, I mean no experience, no 6 months of experience, no 3 months, no experience, because coming from BG, I did not have any experience, and they will ask you in the what have you done, where have you been, can we have references? If you have not worked, you have not worked. There's no point lying about it. This is medicine, this is hospital work. I was looking for jobs that wanted someone with no experience. So NHS jobs, I was applying through there. Track jobs, I was applying through there as well. And then there was a period of time where I was emailing. This took so long, but I spoke to someone that told me that how she got her job was that she went through the hospital. So she went to her local hospital, spoke to one of the consultants and said, you know, I'm a medical student and this is my, you know, just finished and I want to work in this hospital. And he just said, yeah, okay, we've got a vacancy, we'll give you a job. Like I told you, put the job online, she applied, and she already had the job anyway, she just applied and that was it. So she was saying, you know, why don't you email different consultants? So I was googling any trust around my area. So I'm from Leeds originally, so I was went through, I had a list about 100 different hospitals, literally, and different departments I would email. So I would email consultants in general medicine, consultants in general surgery. Like, I was doing that for a while. I think for about a few weeks I was doing that, and I wasn't really getting anywhere because a lot of them were like, check our website. I'm like, I'm checking your website and there's nothing there, that's why I'm emailing you. It was so crazy, and that's one thing that I can never take away from myself. I am very tenacious. I'm very tenacious, and I keep going. I persevere at things. If I want something, I'm gonna keep going and keep going and keep going and keep going. Medicine is actually my second degree. I did a first degree in biomedical sciences, and I was like, this is not what I want. I want to be a doctor, and I went back. That's 9 years of schooling that I have done as a big adult. So it's like I wanted it, and I was just kept on going. During this time, I was working as a receptionist, looking, because I was like, I can't be at home not working, and money's not coming in. I'm looking for a job. So yeah, before we go into that as well, another thing that I was doing between this time was I started applying to agencies. What I had envisioned for myself was for me to do at least 6 months F1 with NHS, for them to teach me the ropes, and then when I had done my 6 months, I could go into F2 if I wanted to. So there is the foundation program that you can apply to as well. There's an F2 standalone, and then there's an foundation program, the 2 years course. I did not want to do the 2 years course because I just felt like there was no point, because we're international medical graduates, you can go straight into F2. So my plan, like I said, was to do maybe 6 months F1 and then go into the F2 straight away, or 3 months F1 and go into F2 straight away, because I was just like, I don't want to waste too much time. However, because I was applying, I wasn't getting in, I ended up going straight to F2. And yeah, so the F2 standalone, I wanted to apply to that, but my IELTS scores did not allow me to apply to that. And this is something that I spoke about on my IG. So I did my IELTS and I passed really well. So I got 8.5 overall, which is really good, because there were 4 parts: listening, reading, writing and speaking. I got a 9 out of 9 in my speaking, I've got a 9 out of 9 in my listening, and I've got a 9 out of 9 in my reading. It was my writing that brought it down. So my writing, I got a 7 out of 9. And for your F2 standalone, they wanted you to have 7.5 in each area. So because I got a 7 in my writing, I wasn't able to apply for the F2 standalone. But the thing is, I was talking to someone that reached out to me on Instagram, and she had told me that she got the F2 standalone, she passed interview stage and everything, and when it came to them giving her a job, they said there were no jobs. So all of that for her not to have a job at the end. So she was asking me about my agencies and stuff like that. So sometimes I feel like you can still apply for the F2 standalone, you can still apply for the foundation program, and it not work out in the end is crazy. Now, applying through agency is so long, because when you apply for agency, or let me just backtrack to IELTS. So I did my IELTS last year in January. I think when you do your IELTS, it lasts for like over a year, the results. I recommend you doing your IELTS during your final year. I don't recommend you doing it after your final year, because that means between the time you finish and before you get a GMC registration, you're still trying to sort out your IELTS, because you need your IELTS for your GMC registration. So final year is the best time for you to sort it out. In between exams, we all know when you're doing your exams in Pleven, you have like time in between your exams. Get it done, get it sorted before your last exam, so that when you're done with your last exam, you have all your stuff ready. You have your IELTS ready with your certificate, you have your completion letter sorted out, you can do everything. But if you haven't done your IELTS, then you're waiting for a time when you can do your IELTS, you're studying for it, you're just delaying however long it's going to be for you to get your registration. Okay, so like as I was saying, I started applying through agencies. The reason why it's so long to do your application through agencies is that you have to have everything sorted before you start. This means you have to be competent. So basically, say you have to do your competency as part of joining an agency. That means your references need to have checked out. So whoever you put there, the 2 references need to reply back, You have to get your bloods done, so your Hep B, your varicella. You need to have done your basic life support training. That is the least one that you have to do before you can get content. You also need your DBS as well, so that also needs to be done as well. You need to pay for all of these things, so it's quite expensive and it takes quite a lot of time. For you to join an agency, you need to send them your GMT certificate, your DBS, which needs to be done, your proof of address and stuff. So if you have a driving license, you can use that, and then your blood serology report, which I said, so Hep C, varicella, TB, HIV, all of those things needs to be checked out. So I went through it. I got my GP to do some of my bloods for me, and when I got my results, they said the results were not how they expected it to be. So then I had to basically pay for them to get done through this pathology company that they use. And I feel like this is a scam by all these agencies, because they want you to use that specific place. So I ended up having to pay, even though I went to my GP and got it done for free. They said the bloods are not what they expected or something like that. I don't know. Whatever. And then you need to pay for your indemnity insurance. You can do your indemnity insurance before you start working, so you don't have to do it whilst you're joining an agency. But once you get a job, you just make sure that your indemnity insurance is done. I am with MPS. I think that's the one that most people use in the UK. I applied to about 5 to 6 agencies, and it was such a long process. I just kept on getting so frustrated. But in the end, I got my first job through an agency, and that's how I have been working since then. So I was still going on track, and it was just not working out for me. So one of the agencies that I was with told me about an opportunity to start work in oncology department, hematology oncology in Royal Stoke University Hospital, and it was just for about 5 to 6 weeks, just a month-ish, and I took it because it was, you know, with a view to extend. So I was in Stoke-on-Trent for about 5 to 6 weeks. When I started that job, I was really happy to be in the NHS and to start working. It was very difficult. I feel like what I would recommend anyone right now in final year, I know a lot of you babes are watching from BG, please get a clinical attachment if it's possible, because it's a big jump from Bulgaria to working in the NHS. You have to know how things work. We didn't even take that many bloods in Bulgaria. Like, there's so much that it's just such a big shock to the system. So if you can do a clinical attachment for like a week or even 2 weeks, just shadowing doctors around, doing the little jobs, just seeing how things work, it will really help. But I started with no experience, not to my fault. I really tried to get a clinical attachment. I tried doing this from first year. I tried getting a clinical attachment, didn't work out. Then final year, because I knew like a consultant, I was really trying to get into his hospital under his eyes and his supervision, and he was all for it, but the NHS was not working with me. He gave me an email to the clinical attachment supervisor, head, whoever deals with it, the coordinator, and she was just posting me. So basically I finished in April, like I finished in March, like I told you guys. We tried to do it in April whilst I was waiting. Even if it was a month of clinical attachment, I would not be paid, but I would be under his supervision, and he works in the emergency department. That would have been awesome for me. And no, it didn't work out. They were trying to say, oh, we'll get you in July. Then they changed it to September. Do you think I would still be at home in September when I am done with uni and I'm ready to work? So that didn't work out. So back to me starting in my first job. It was, wow, I think the first day I was shaking, but as soon as I got there, I let them know this is my first job. I have just finished, and you know, I'm a locum doctor, but they've told you before, this is my first job, because the agency lets them know what your capability is, and they had already known that I was fresh on the job. I just, you know, retold them. So starting off the first day, I literally followed an F1 around, Second day, I followed an F1 around, but I had one patient. Third day, I had 2 patients, and that's how it just kept on going. And the good thing with the oncology department that I was with was it was busy. It was so busy, but I had about 5 patients max. And it was a lot because in oncology, because these patients are terminal sometimes, and you know, there's a lot of clerking to do, there's a lot of like, you're looking after patients quite intimately. It was difficult, but it was a good way to ease in. Yeah, I see that now, that it was a good way to ease in because I was able to start and kind of learn from there. So that was good. For the first time I was there, I did enjoy it. But I realized I didn't want to be there for long, so they asked me to extend, but they wanted me to do the ALS course before they could extend me. This was because they wanted me to work weekends, and they wanted me to hold the bleep and be available for like any crash calls or anything like that. When I was looking for ALS courses to do, I couldn't find any. I think the earliest one was like within 2 months from then, and then it was like almost £900. I was just like, I'm not sure. Another thing I didn't like about Stoke was that it was far to go anywhere. It was far for me to go see my friends. It's expensive for me to go see anyone, even my family. I ended up paying about almost £70 just to come to Leeds for a weekend. I was like, this is too expensive, like what's going on? And it was quite lonely because I was in hospital accommodation. Hated it, absolutely hated hospital accommodation. It was nasty. Very tiny, very nasty. I didn't like it, and I didn't know anyone, so even the people that I was working with weren't friends. We were just like colleagues, and I just didn't have any, you know, anyone. So I was just like, I don't really enjoy this place. I don't really enjoy the people. I don't really enjoy, and it was oncology. I was seeing a lot of death. It was a bit, you know, depressing. So after my time was up, I was like, yeah, I'm not gonna stay here. I'm not gonna extend. I'm gonna find something else. So then I changed agency because I had like 5 to 6 agencies. I told all of them, this is where I'm trying to go. I'm trying to go back home, but not home, around Leeds. So I can get home easily, I can get about, I can still see my friends, but it will be around the area. So I just told them, and I just let them do their job. So I had offers. I had an offer where I'm at right now, and I had an offer for Liverpool as well. But when I was thinking about Liverpool, I was like, I'm not even close to anyone that I know. But where I'm at right now, I know a friend that was here before I came, and he was like, yeah, you should come. And that's one of my good friends. So I was like, at least I will know one person. So I came here. I started off in trauma and orthopedics as a locum doctor, F2. In the previous one, I was in F2 as well. Basically, I'm an F2, but my title is SHO. And that was something that I was really scared about. And coming from Stoke, I was saying I wanted to go to F1, and I wanted to just kind of take my time and build myself back up. So that's why I told my agencies. And when I got this TNO job, it was still F2, and they had told them she wants to, you know, start slow. So they had already promised it's an F2 post, but we'll start her with F1 duties up and going. So I was like, okay, cool, that's fine. When I got my timetable, my rota for the first week, I was like, what the hell is happening? So my first day, I was supposed to go in on Monday, and it was supposed to be a normal day, and then Tuesday to Thursday they had me on nights. I was like, hold on a second, I don't know anything about this department. It's a new hospital. I don't have my cards. I don't have anywhere to get onto the computer, because in this NHS trust you need your computer to sign in, and you want me to be doing nights. And I don't know anything about this department. This is trauma and orthopedics. I don't know how things work. I feel like I studied before I went, but when you enter the department, every department is different. The way the clerk is different. The way they give medication is different. Like now, I know how to deal with surgeries, but every surgical department is different. So I was in TNO, now I'm in neurosurgery. In TNO, we start patients on low molecular weight heparin. We start them on that straight away. Neurosurgery, you don't start them on things straight away. So you see what I mean? Some things are similar, but some things are different. In neurosurgery, if a patient has, say, SAH, you start them on nimodipine. It's Do you know what I mean? There's some things that are, you know, specialists within different departments. I was like, you can't expect me to do nights straight away. And that's one thing I like about working in an agency. You have the ability to say no. So I just went back to my agent. I was like, I'm not doing this rota for this week. I'm absolutely not doing that. I'm gonna do Monday to Friday, because they said I was gonna have an induction. I didn't have that. I'm obviously gonna be following someone because I'm gonna be with them this week, but you can't start me on and put me on nights. So that week they changed my rota, so I did Monday to Friday, and I was just following the person that was there. And unfortunately for me, the person I was working with was an F2 that had just rotated as well, so he didn't have a clue either. So it was just like the blind leading the blind. And this is my issue with the NHS. It's so much of things that could easily be prevented, but they're not preventing it because it's like, oh, we're short staffed, or it's not thought about, and that affects us because it's like you're not giving me the tools to succeed, if that makes sense. I was in TNO for 4 months. I started in August, I ended in December, and then I started neurosurgery in December, and then I'm gonna finish neurosurgery in April, and I'm moving on to medicine. So what is next for me? I am gonna continue doing this as a locum doctor, just gaining experience. For us IMGs, before you go into training, you need a CREST form signed. So that's a certificate for readiness to enter specialty training. I have had that signed already. You need that signed by a consultant, and it's valid for 2 years, I think. So I got mine signed when I was in trauma and orthopedics by one of the consultants there, after I had been there for over 3 months. So that's signed. So I am basically, right now, I can go into training if I want to. I am thinking of doing GP training, and I want to be a GP. The reason is I really do want a work and life balance, and if you guys want me to go into more of that, just let me know the kind of videos you're looking for and I will do them. But I'm just, you know, telling you what's going on, and then you guys can let me know what you want me to talk about more and more. I personally want to do GP because starting work and seeing how hectic hospital life is and how draining it is. The reason I'm thinking about GP is because with GP, I know you can do part-time. You can do 3 days a week. Once I finish my training, I can do 4 days a week. I want to be a mom. I also don't want to be just one track minded, just medicine. You guys know me, you know that I like doing different things. I have a lot of plans for my life, and I don't want to just stick to just medicine. So I think GP will give me that freedom to work in my career as a medical doctor, but I also have the freedom to do other things. If I can do part-time, whether it's twice a week, 3 times a week, 4 times a week, I can do that as well. And medicine opens the doors to different things, like different opportunities. Yeah, so that is where I see myself. So this year I have missed the GP exams, the MSRA. I missed it in, I think it was it end of last year? You had to do the exam, but I wasn't ready to do it then. I wanted to have at least 1 year of experience in the hospital before leaving the hospital. So I'm hoping to start my GP training hopefully next year. So I want to just continue working this year, just collecting experience. I would love to do, I'm going into medicine again now, because I did my oncology, that was medicine, but I want to do something more like maybe general medicine, acute medicine, something along those lines. And then I want to try emergency as well. I have worked in the A&E. If there's a trauma and orthopedic patient in A&E, I'll go see them. Or like I've been doing or a plastics patient, I'll go see them. And now that I'm in neurosurgery, if it was a patient that has come in, because I cover for ENT out of hours, so if it's an ENT patient, I'll go and see them in A&E. But I've not worked as an A&E doctor where I'm just based in A&E, so I would like to try that just to get my hands into that. And I feel like it's, to me, working in A&E is like the ultimate craziness. I feel like if I do that, I will give myself a lot of confidence in my ability. So yeah, we'll see. But yeah, that is basically where I'm at right now. I don't know if I missed anything. I'm gonna end the video here because I think it's quite long, and then I'm gonna do a Q&A. So my next video will be a Q&A, which I have had a lot of you guys asking me so many questions, so I'll go into that. And if you have any questions from what I have said, if you want me to go into depth in different kind of videos, please put everything down below. I also wanted to do like a little how to start working in the NHS, like things that you need to know, so tips and tricks, that sort of thing. So I'm planning on doing that. If that's something you're interested in, let me know. If you have any questions, put them down below. If you have any kind of videos you want to see next, put them down below. And yeah, I'll see you guys in my next video. Make sure you are subscribed, and please share this video with people that might need it. I know there's a lot of international medical graduates that really don't know the steps, so I hope I was able to explain the steps to you. And thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye.